guys, Gene here from the BSP Wrestling Show, here to bring you guys my WWE Smackdown Live review for May 2nd, 2017. Smackdown was pretty subpar tonight. It pains me to say it, but I gotta be completely honest with you guys. Smackdown was not the greatest show tonight. A few bursts of greatness, but other than that, it was a pretty average show. Average to subpar, really. It kind of felt like it dragged a little bit. But good thing it's only 2 hours, because if it was 3 hours, it probably would have been Raw. Raw was just absolutely terrible, and SmackDown really was barely any better. But let's get into the show, because like I said, we did get a few good things. SmackDown Live kicked off with Jinder Mahal taking pictures with the WWE Championship. And Shane McMahon came into the frame and told him that championship doesn't belong to him. On SmackDown Live, championships are earned. And he says he has not taken the belt from Orton yet, so he has to give it back. Jinder was like, yeah, not yet, but I'll be taking the title from him soon enough. And then Shane informed him that he'll be taking on Sami Zayn tonight on SmackDown Live. And then Shane came to the ring to bring out Chris Jericho, the new United States champion. Jericho said it's a special night because he's going to give you what you want and what you need. And this is the new show of Jericho. Smack it down, man. Shane said everyone is thrilled that he's on SmackDown Live. We have a locker room full of dream matches waiting to happen. But tonight he'll have to defend his United States Championship against Kevin Owens, who is invoking his rematch clause. Then AJ Styles came out and, he says, well, look at here. It's my good friend turned bitter enemy, Chris Jericho. And then he tells him a lot has changed since they switched shows. He said Jericho is standing in the house that AJ Styles built. And then he brought up Y2AJ. If you guys remember that back from WrestleMania 31, that was freaking crazy. They had shirts and everything, and Jericho turned on them, and it was just great. And it led to their match at WrestleMania. And he said nothing more would please him than taking that title away from him at Backlash if he's still the champion by then. Jericho said, did you see what I did to Kevin Owens at Payback? He was tapping out. And that's pretty much what he was insinuating was going to happen to AJ. He said, there's a new face of America, and Chris Jericho be thy name. Then he told AJ, he was about to put AJ Styles on the list of Jericho. He was like, you know what happens when you don't think I'm going to beat Kevin Owens tonight and retain the U.S. Championship? And then before he could put him on the list, Kevin Owens came out. He said this is the most pathetic thing he's seen in his entire career. AJ, Shane, and Jericho arguing about things that don't matter. All that matters is that he's taken back that title. If Jericho thinks WrestleMania and the Festival of Friendship was bad, tonight will be much worse. And then he tells AJ to get the hell out of his ring. AJ happily agrees, and Owens is just still talking. And AJ just ran up on Kevin Owens and stole on him. He was like, hold on, you gonna put some respect on my name? And he just completely started beating his ass, and the officials had to separate them. But AJ was like, all right, you want me to get out the ring? All right, but I'm coming to throw these hands, so you better be ready. And Owens was obviously not prepared. But Owens made good on his promise to Chris Jericho. That's all I'm going to say. But we'll talk about the main event in a little bit, because that was one of the bright spots of SmackDown. We got Jinder Mahal versus Sami Zayn, which was pretty much just a good little warm-up match for Jinder. Against one of the better workers in the company in Sami Zayn. I like how Sami sells, but not only that, I like how Jinder has the Singh brothers, or the Bollywood boys, and they're helping him out. It puts more heat on him since he needs some help sometimes, because he hasn't exactly, completely proven himself as, a number one contender. He just won the Battle Royal. So he's got to get some heat somehow, and this is his way to do it, by having the Singh brothers by his side. But pretty much, this was an alright match. Zayn pretty much took the blunt of the offense. Jinder was in control for majority of the match. And I think one of the Singh brothers distracted Sami and the ref. When Sami went for a haluva kick, he pulled Jinder out the ring. And then as Sami went to go, jump over the top rope on the both of them, the other Singh brother, kind of pulled at his leg a little bit to stop his momentum. And when Sami turned around to address him, Jinder got back into the ring, hit that half Nelson slam that he uses, and picked up the win. We need a name for that. I don't know what the hell they're gonna call it, but we definitely need a name for his finishing move. Especially if he's going after, Randy Orton. We need a name for that finishing move. Backstage, we had Becky Lynch walking, and she ran into Natalya, Carmella, Tamina, and James Ellsworth. She said, "Oh, look, it's my favorite 4 ladies." Yes, she called James Ellsworth a lady. They're still teasing that match. I hope that match happens between her and Ellsworth. That would be funny. Natalya said she heard her comments on Talking Smack and how she called them all snakes. Natalya said this isn't a joke. Charlotte has done a lot of bad to Becky Lynch over the past couple of years. And since Becky was the first pick in the draft, Charlotte shouldn't be getting women's championship matches. And if anybody should be getting them, it should be Becky Lynch. And, she was just pretty much trying to have a come to Jesus moment with her. Like, hey, we're just trying to look out for you. We're trying to have your back. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Nobody has your back around here, so we got you. Pretty much teasing that heel turn, which I was hoping did not happen. Dolph was in the back with like some random people around the monitor. They watched Shinsuke's promo video. He's going to have a match at Backlash. I'm sure it's going to be against Ziggler. And Ziggler was pretty much just burying it, saying how he has improved himself. And Shane and Daniel Bryan, with those brains of theirs, have completely, based a pay-per-view off of Shinsuke Nakamura. And, who does this guy think he is? And all this other stuff. All the while, Shane McMahon is standing right behind him, listening to the whole thing he's saying. And he was like, that is Shinsuke Nakamura. He introduced himself to you last week. And Dolph was like, yeah, he had a nice entrance, but watch what I do to Sin Cara. Because, Nakamura hasn't had a match yet, so Ziggler is taking exceptions to that. He's like, he hasn't proven himself since he's been on SmackDown Live. It doesn't matter what he's done in NXT, he hasn't proved himself now. So, he's pretty much going to go out there and show him how it's done, I guess. I don't know. That's pretty funny or whatever. I don't know what they're doing. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Dolph is going to face Nakamura at Backlash. That'll be a pretty good match. It'll be a pretty good match. Dolph is a great worker, so I'm pretty sure it'll be exciting to watch. So no problem with that. We had Ty Dillinger versus Aiden English, which was pretty much a squash match. And Aiden English had like a meltdown after he lost. I think this is like the second, third time he's lost to Ty Dillinger. I don't know what's up with Aiden English, but this man started crying and was like pulling at his hair and his beard. He was having a breakdown. I don't think my man's was okay. But backstage, Jericho was having an interview, and Aiden English walked by them. He was still crying, and Jericho's like, "Hey man, what's up? What are you crying for, man? This is SmackDown Live. You don't cry on SmackDown Live. You're a good-looking guy. You can sing." And then, as he's building up his spirits, he completely buries him and was like, "You know what happens when you cry on SmackDown Live?" And then just completely destroyed him by putting him on the list. And then Renee Young, who was interviewing him, he put her on the list as well. He was just adding people to the list for no reason at all. Jericho is out of control, and he's hilarious. But it was funny how he put him on the list. That was just crazy. Like, he built his confidence up and then completely destroyed it one more time. And Aiden English went back to crying and walking away after that. Renee Young was just looking so awkward, like, why is this man crying? Why did I get put on the list? She was just in the middle of it all, and it was just freaking hilarious. We had another interview after that. We had Charlotte interviewing about what happened last week in her championship match. She says what the so-called welcoming committee are stopping is the inevitable. She's going to take that women's championship match from Naomi, even though they have to team up tonight because it's her destiny. And she said it just like that and looked past the cameras. And then the welcoming committee, or I guess that's what they're calling them, which is, it doesn't make sense because how is Tamina part of the welcoming committee and she's being welcomed? That doesn't make sense. But nonetheless, they attack Charlotte ahead of their match, their tag team match, and pretty much take her out. So Naomi is forced to go in it alone against Natalya and Carmella. But Naomi was like, hey, screw it. It is what it is. We just about to have this match. So that's fine. And she started off with Carmella in the ring. And it seemed like Carmella, felt like she had the advantage, but that just didn't seem to be the case because Naomi, we all know, has a ton of meat on her bones. She's thicker than a bowl of cold grits. And Carmella, not so much. She's kind of skinny with just no meat on her bones. And she tried to have a kicking match with Naomi, and we all know how that turned out. Naomi's legs versus Carmella's. She just kept kicking her in the back of her leg and her butt, and just, oh my goodness. It was just all bad for Carmella. Like, them kicks look like they really hurt because she's just so skinny. And her kicks had no effect on Naomi whatsoever. But once Natalya got in, that's when they started to have the advantage because Naomi was just beating up on poor Carmella. And when Natalya got in, she turned the tide of the match in her favor. And then, like halfway through the match, Charlotte's music hit. And she made her way to the ring very gingerly. She was clutching her midsection or whatever. And, Naomi tagged her in immediately. She got in, went on a freaking rampage. It seemed like she wasn't selling the effects of the backstage attack until Natalya clotheslined her on the apron. And they were able to take advantage one more time. After a little bit, Naomi came in off the hot tag after being rested on the apron. She hit the rear view on Carmella, almost picked up the win, but Natalya provided the distraction from the apron for the ref. Then after kicking her in the head, she went back to Carmella, but James Ellsworth got on the apron to try to do the same thing. And this time, Carmella took advantage and rolled up Naomi and got the win. And then after the match, Naomi was like, you know what? Screw it. As Carmella was celebrating, she hit her with a forearm. Boom! Right to the face. And then that's when the whole brawl started happening. But her and Charlotte were obviously outmatched and couldn't handle the welcoming committee. I still think that's a stupid name for their stable, whatever they're doing. But yeah, the welcoming committee started kicking their ass. And then Becky Lynch came out. But she didn't come out like she was doing a run-in. She came out very slow. So it just made it seem like something was up. She got in the ring, looked around and evaluated the situation. And then she was like, you know what? I'm in. She started shaking their hand. She shook Carmella's hand. She shook Natalya's hand. She shook Tamina's hand. And then James Ellsworth stuck his hand out. And she was like, nah. And then she opened her arms up like she wanted a hug from him. And as he went in for the hug, she grabbed him and threw him at Carmella and Tamina. And then she started hitting Natalya. She just pretty much took him out for a little bit. But Tamina got back up and kicked her right in the face. And they proceeded to jump her as well. So now it's kind of even. Once they're all healthy, you'll have Charlotte, Naomi, and Becky Lynch. And then you'll have Tamina, Natalya, and what the hell is her name? Carmella. I'll keep forgetting their names. And then, you got James Ellsworth, who's going to eventually get his ass kicked by Becky Lynch. Because, they've been teasing that for the longest. Even on Twitter, they've been teasing it. But, yeah, so I'm so glad they didn't turn her heel. Because I felt like that would have been the wrong move to do so. I don't like Charlotte being face, but it seems like she's kind of tweenerish, so I'm alright with it. It's not like she's, oh, I love the fans. She's not doing that, so as long as she ain't doing that, she can be a tweener. They can cheer for her. That's fine. They always do the woo chants anyway, so it'll be okay. But once she goes back to fighting Naomi, she'll get booed once again. So for now, they're trying to overcome an obstacle. They're trying to make these ladies look good. That's why they keep getting the advantage over the women's champion in Charlotte and now Becky Lynch. So that's fine. They're just trying to build up the division, get them, legit heat and make them look good instead of always just getting pinned by the upper echelon of women. So I'm okay with it. We'll see where it goes. Kind of was a long, segment and match. So, they gave them some good time to work. I appreciated that, which is not something that happens too often. So, that was definitely a positive for the women. After that, we got a Dolph Ziggler versus Sin Cara match. Of course, Ziggler won. Who would have thought Sin Cara was going to win this match? Sin Cara almost killed himself. He almost hit a suicide dive. He hit a suicide dive that almost went bad. His feet got caught on the top rope. He went through like the top and middle rope, and his feet kind of caught the top rope. Thank God Ziggler was there to catch him, or he would have landed face first on the ground, and it just would have been all bad. It would have been botch Cara once again, but it was okay. It was actually more competitive than I thought it was going to be, but Ziggler won with a super kick, so he's just trying to build up wins so he can face Nakamura at Backlash, like I said earlier. Then we got probably the best part of the night. They do this Law and Order skit, or this parody, with Breezango, because they're the fashion police. They had him in the police office and everything. This was just laid out so perfect. And if you guys are looking at the video, you'll see the thumbnail. In the back, they had that board that you see, and they had like all the teams they took out to get the chance to go after the Usos, and they called them the Uggos. And then there's like this random freaking mugshot of Vince McMahon, and that just tickled me to death for some reason. You could just see it. It's like in the top left corner of the board. You had the Usos circled. You had like the Shining Stars on there, the Ascension. It was just hilarious. They're doing something with Breezango, and I'm happy about it. I'm so happy about it. Hopefully these guys can become tag team champions. They're taking their gimmicks seriously, and they did this whole Law and Order parody. They're just running through the case files on the Usos and pretty much just saying that it's all going to culminate on May 21st. They're going to, I guess, the big bust will go down on May 21st. And they called it Fashion Files. Instead of Law and Order, it was Fashion Files. And, you know, May 21st is Backlash when they get their title opportunity. So this is great. I'm glad they're building up more teams in the division. Hopefully they can build up the Colognes, because they're no longer the Shining Stars. I said Shining Stars, but they're no longer the Shining Stars. Hopefully they can build them up some more. I would really love for them to do something with the Ascension because of how they were in NXT, but I feel like that ship has sailed for them. I feel like it's a little bit too late for them, unfortunately, but I don't know, man. They could have did way more with the Ascension. They could have been tag champions by now, but I don't know. At least they're doing something with Breezango and the Colognes right now. So we didn't see the Usos tonight either. I know why we didn't see Randy Orton, because of the whole House of Horrors match, even though he would have won if it wasn't for Jinder Mahal and those meddling Singh brothers. Yeah, that was just a random Scooby-Doo reference. I wonder if you guys caught that. But now we get the main event, which was Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens, United States Championship match. And we all knew what was coming, right? I hope we all knew. Jericho immediately went for the jugular by trying to smash Kevin Owens' hand again in the steel steps, which he had taped up from, almost called it Backlash, from Payback, when Jericho slammed his hand in the steel steps after he used the finger to get the rope break again. So Jericho went after that again, but Owens wisely got away from him. They went back and forth from probably all of the match, just counter after counter. Jericho had Owens locked in the walls of Jericho like he did at Payback. Owens fought his way out of it. Jericho countered a pop-up powerbomb into the walls of Jericho again. For the second time, Owens got out of it. He got to the ropes. They took their fight to the outside, where Owens DDT'd Jericho onto the concrete entrance ramp. Owens tried multiple pin attempts. He hit like a cannonball on the outside. This was a pretty good match. For them to fight, 3 straight times, it was a pretty good match, and it was pretty enjoyable for me. It didn't beat Raw's main event. I will give Raw credit for that. Their main event was freaking incredible. I didn't get a chance to talk about it because I didn't do a Raw review, but that triple threat match between Miz, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins was freaking incredible. One of the best I've seen in a long time. So I'll give them credit on that. But this wasn't a bad match either. But in the end, after multiple pin attempts that didn't go Kevin Owens' way, he hit a pop-up powerbomb, and that was it. We got a new United States champion, and 2 days after he gets the title, he drops it right back to Kevin Owens. I was like so confused, but I'm thinking the whole point of it, especially after what happened after the match, is for Jericho to come back to get his revenge on Kevin Owens once he's done in a few months. He's only going to be gone for a couple months. He's going on tour with his band, but he'll be back. But they had to write him off TV somehow, and they did just that. After the match, Kevin Owens came back into the ring, attacked Jericho, hit him with a pop-up powerbomb, left, came back once again, hit him with another pop-up powerbomb. He got him up to throw him into the ropes for a third time, but Jericho just collapsed at that point, and then Owens went back up the entrance ramp. As he was, leaving or whatever, they got Jericho, up, the referees and the trainers, they were escorting him out. Owens came back down the ramp and, attacked him again. He grabbed a steel chair from the crowd, and instead of hitting him with the chair, the referees were, just trying to get him to stop. He picked Jericho up and wrapped the chair around his neck and tossed him into the ring post, which was freaking excellent. Excellent heel heat for Owens. And now Jericho is going to be completely gone for a long time, especially after that. That just did it right there. That was just the icing on the cake. And we have a new United States champion, and Jericho will be gone from SmackDown Live for a few months, but he'll be back and probably go after Kevin Owens when he does, because he has some unfinished business with him. So that's cool. One of the more interesting rivalries they've been doing for the past 6 to 8 months. I don't even know if it's been that long, but one of the more interesting rivalries they've been doing. So I have no problem with that. Jericho's on SmackDown, so he can get his comeuppance once he's done. And that was SmackDown Live. Like I said, pretty average show, subpar. Whatever you guys want to say about it. That and Raw was pretty uneventful, except for a few things. Both main events were pretty interesting. And that whole thing with Breezango was freaking hilarious. Just absolutely hilarious. I was so dead. Like, I thought SmackDown went off. It was done so well, I thought SmackDown was done. I'm like, wait, what the hell is this? And they did the whole Law and Order thing. It was freaking hilarious. Very well done, and making me more interested in Breezango. So, I don't know. That's it for the SmackDown Live review. Let me know what you guys thought of SmackDown in the comment section down below. Slap a like on the video if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new. We're getting close to 300 subscribers. I'm going to keep trying to pump out more content for you guys as we continue to grow. So, once again, like I always do, I just want to thank you guys for all your support and constantly watching the videos, interacting with me on Twitter. It's very well appreciated. I enjoy it so much. And this is just a passion of mine. I'm just going to keep going with this. I say this all the time. I'm going to keep going. You guys are on this journey with me. We're going to become one of the best wrestling channels on YouTube. And I believe that. So, thank you guys for all your constant support. I'll talk to you guys later on. Maybe I'll give you guys maybe like a podcast or some type of topic video this week. I'll be putting out more videos this week. So stay tuned for that. I'll hit you guys up later on. Peace.